People who are in the disabled community have experienced discrimination. When we look at the attitudes and answers from people in the broader population, what we see is that people in Ireland recognise that people with disabilities do experience discrimination, but they also feel that people should be fully able to participate in society.
It's 2.5 minutes past 3.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Need a gift for Chris Kindle? Ryanair gift cards are the perfect gift.
Mostly dry and some bright spells today. A few isolated showers with a little more persistent rain in places. Highs of 6 to 10 degrees. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, get more of the sports you love on Sports Extra with BT Sport and Premier Sports.
This is News Talk.
And welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday here on News Talk. John Duggan with you 3 to 5. This is Football Saturday all the way until 5. Remember, Football on Off the Ball brought to you by Sky. Get more of the sports you love and Sports Extra with BT Sport and Premier Sports. We're streaming the conversation as well. You can listen around the country on News Talk Watches as well on the Off the Ball digital and social channels. For Periscope on Twitter, at Off the Ball, YouTube and on Facebook and on the OTB Sports app. We're joined on the line this week by the former Republic of Ireland international and Liverpool legend Mark Lawrenson, Cobh Ramblers manager Shane Keegan and the broadcaster and journalist Johnny Ward. You can join the conversation now, folks, on our text number 53106 at a cost of 30 cents, or on Twitter at Off the Ball. Who do you want to see the World Cup win the World Cup now even? Would you like England to do well? If you support one of their players in the Premier League, or would you rather they go out as soon as possible? What's your view on the quality of the football that's been on offer? And Eddie O'Keefe of Limerick stole the show this week, folks. The Irish contribution to the World Cup with his Je suis une baguette viral. What is the maddest or funniest thing you've seen on your football travels? 53106, the text number. The Netherlands and the USA have kicked off the first of the last 16 matches in Qatar, 3 minutes old, with the Dutch unchanged. Christian Pulisic fit to start for the USA. Argentina, Australia this evening at 7. France, Poland tomorrow at 3. England, Senegal tomorrow evening at 7. Japan, Croatia and Brazil, South Korea on Monday. Morocco, Spain and Portugal and Switzerland on Tuesday. Very sad news coming in. These are unconfirmed reports, but reports nonetheless from reputable sources. Reuters, for example, and Brazilian media reporting that Pelé is receiving palliative care in his battle against cancer, colon cancer. He's 82 years of age. He's in a hospital in Sao Paulo. Vinicius Jr., Rivaldo, Kylian Mbappe sending their best wishes on social media. Mark Lawrenson, we hope he pulls through. Pelé, an icon of the game and of world sport. Yeah. And before Messi, before Maradona, there was Pelé, who made the sport popular around the world with his 3 World Cup wins with Brazil.
Well, that was it. When did he score against Sweden? Was he 17?
58, 1958.
58. I saw him, John. I was 9. I saw him at Goodison playing for Brazil. My dad took me. And he got absolutely kicked off the pitch. I think he didn't last particularly long at all. But, you know, all players a lot older than me, your Bobby Charltons and people that I knew, obviously, and that I'd been involved with, would just say was like absolutely unbelievable. And didn't he score 1,000 goals?
Yeah, Santos, wasn't it?
Santos. And I mean, if you think about it then, in those days, these lads got kicked pillar to post. So he must have been just amazing. And I think, was it 1970 when they won the World Cup and
yes.
They were brilliant? And did he score with a header that day?
Against Italy in the final, yeah, they won 4-1, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, words aren't really enough to describe him as a footballer, but he most certainly the best that I've ever seen. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and let's hope he pulls through. And Shane Keegan, I suppose when we all look back, we're not old enough when you see that Brazil team, Shane Keegan, and you see the colour of Mexico and the World Cup being brought into a colour TV age, and that nonchalant pass from Pelé to Carlos Alberto for the 4th goal, O Jogo Bonito, the beautiful game. That's why we're still talking about it here 52 years later.
Yeah, look, obviously, John, a bit before my time, but you watch stuff back, and even just the esteem and the reputation that he was held in. I mean, he is, you know, arguably in the top 2-3 names that the word football is just associated with. You know, football, Pelé goes hand in hand, and you know, there's I don't know whether we should judge the talent of a soccer player on how many Simpsons appearances they made, but he crossed generations when popping up in a famous episode of the Simpsons, which just goes to show how much he transcended everything, really.
Yeah, and obviously he's very sick in a Brazil hospital, and Pelé is, Johnny, just synonymous with the game being popular around the world, I would say.
Absolutely, JD. Yeah, and that pass you mentioned is, I guess it just brings to mind how controlled Brazil could play at that time, and how they made football look so different, and how we're used to all these players now. We see them all the time. We see them on our phones. We see them on the TV. But that must have been like entering a new world to see the likes of Pelé play like that. And I know you were quite strong in Brazil winning this tournament, and as I've watched it, I certainly give them a massive chance. And you do feel that this will, in a way, it will galvanise them. Pelé is an absolute icon, like Shane Keegan says. I would relate more to Maradona, who very, very sadly died way before his time. Pelé has lived a good life so far, and I would hope that he will pull through. If he doesn't pull through, I think his legacy will be immeasurable. And I think this Brazil team actually might, if they've been a bit more kind of chilled out than maybe their Argentine rivals in terms of the goals that they've scored, and they seem to be a little bit more on the ground, maybe a bit more level-headed. I think the whole Pelé thing will maybe bring them up to another level, and it's fascinating to see how this plays out for Brazil, because I think they have a massive chance. And our thoughts obviously with Pelé at the moment.
Mark Lawrenson, go on, Mark.
I was just going to say, I met him twice, two nights running.
Right.
In Germany, the World Cup in Germany, Leonardo was on our panel.
Yes.
And we did 2 nights together, myself and him, and I think Lineker was doing the programme as well. Gary was doing the programme. We just went back to our hotel, and Leonardo said, "Oh, would you mind if my pal comes round, has a drink with us?" And we just went, "Yeah, of course we did." We weren't thinking it was your man. And he turned up. It was brilliant. He was great. Signed an autograph for my son, which obviously my son cherishes. He made it out to Sam. So I said to my Sam, "Listen, one day that would be worth a lot of money, mate. Keep hold of it."
Well, he'll never sell it, obviously.
No.
Just in terms of the World Cup itself, look, there was like all the rightful talk about Qatar beforehand. In terms of the football, Mark, what have you enjoyed?
I've enjoyed that the so-called smaller countries have all improved. I think you can look at nearly every single one of them, how they've improved. I mean, I'm watching here, obviously, with USA, and USA should have scored. Pulisic should have scored after about 3 minutes. A gilt-edged chance. And at the moment, Holland can't get the ball. They're all over the place. Man, they're going to score now, and they have. Sorry about that.
You're ahead of me. You're ahead of me, Mark.
You're ahead of me too.
Well, just ask me if you want anything.
Memphis Depay scored 1-0 to the Dutch against the USA.
That's honestly, can I just tell you, that's the first time that they've been in it's coming up to nearly 10 minutes. It's the first time that the Netherlands have been in USA's half. USA have just completely bossed the game. As I say, Pulisic should just have scored. It was a brilliant opportunity, and of course, what happens to you? You go down the other end, and good goal from Holland's point of view, most definitely.
Mark, you've got the feed that nobody else obviously has. You're a second or two.
Well, yeah, if you pay the money, you can have a chance of getting it, can't
you? You can, Lauro. There's a guy celebrating in the most fantastic orange suit with a white shirt and orange tie that I've just seen. So I might be down to the tailors next week. But Memphis Depay, first goal of the tournament, obviously had injury issues coming into it, and he scored for the Dutch. And will we see Louis van Gaal tell his critics where to go after this game? Because at the moment they're 1-0 up, the Netherlands against the USA in the first of the last 16 games. So yeah, like you're talking about, Mark, you're talking about Japan, South Korea. I know they didn't get out of the group, but Saudi Arabia, Australia.
Yeah. Just been, we kind of, you look at, before the tournament, we're kind of looking at thinking, well, it might be a little bit of cannon fodder, but they haven't been. And I like the way that they played the football. I mean, even the Aussies, they're going to be difficult to play against because at any sport that they must win. They're very, very competitive. But I just love the way they've gone about the business, all those teams. And I think what we've seen as well in the competition is generally the first halves, nearly all the first halves has been quite dull. And then all of a sudden, the competition seemed to have started in the second half of every game. So, and obviously when in the last few where we've had, if somebody else got booked, you missed going through, and obviously goals scored and all those kind of things. And I just think from now on, the tournament really will kick on. But I don't feel, which is a bit daft considering Netherlands are winning 1-0, I don't feel we'll have too many 90-minute games, as in end to end. I just don't think it's going to be that way. It's not going to be one of those competitions that's going to be like that. It's going to be just watch, make sure at half time you are not losing this game. i.e. 2-0 down or something, because it's too much to chase. So make sure you keep in the game. And then the second half is hopefully when the football actually really gets going.
Is that a fair thing, Mark?
Yeah, I think so. I think, the big teams are under pressure, aren't they? And even more so because of the results. We've seen the results. And, if you're the manager, you're thinking, look, we can't get beaten by Japan. We can't get beaten by Australia and all those kind of things. And that's why I think it's actually been a really good competitive competition. But the football hasn't been brilliant as yet. But I'm hoping that it will be.
Shane Keegan, Cody Gakpo, I'd say, will be on his way to a Premier League club before long.
He's been very, very good, John. Yeah, he's been very, very good. He really has. There was a lot of talk. You're reading your World Soccer magazines and the various different pullouts going into it, and the general consensus seemed to be heading into it, which has pretty much proved true. I know Depay's injury maybe changed it slightly, but people were saying this guy's probably not even a starter for Holland. I think Bergwijn and Depay were expected to be the front two, but watch him come off the bench, watch him make an impact, and he could end up being in the starting 11 as things go along. And look, that is exactly how it's played out. He looks a very, very good player. He does look exactly the kind of player that Manchester United could do it. Obviously, there's a huge amount of talk. Supposedly, they could have already had him previous to now for as little as 30 million. So yeah, that's one we'll be interested to see. He's the sort of fella that United fans, I would imagine, would be absolutely delighted to see arrive in the door.
Mark has talked about the so-called lesser teams performing above their expectations as being what he's enjoyed the most. What about you, Shane? What have you enjoyed the most?
Just the tightness of the groups, John. They've been brilliant. I mean, almost all of the groups have still been hanging in the balance in the last 5 minutes of the games, which has been brilliant. That certainly wasn't the case 4 years ago in Russia, and it's just edge of the seat stuff, and it's swinging one way and another. You don't always get that. In fact, it's quite rare that you get that. I would say, what have we got? 8 groups. I would say you might get a bit of excitement in 2 to 3 of them. We've had excitement in almost all of them so far. I mean, the last couple of days have just been brilliant. Sure, like yourself as a Spurs fan, seeing the celebrations from Son when they managed to pull that off were just incredible. We had a brief period where we thought both Spain and Germany were going out. That was an incredible group, and still transpired to be an incredible group with Germany going out. They've all just been really, really in the balance, which has led to, as you say, for all the ills that are going on in the background, on the pitch, I think the group stages have been excellent. I think they've been really, really good.
No one won 3 games, did they?
No. I don't think there's anyone on 9 points, Laura. No, you're right on that.
Yeah, something is unusual.
It is unusual, very unusual. Somebody texted in, John and Kilkenny, I saw Santos play in Delhiman Park in the 1960s, so we'll investigate who they were playing, if they did play here. Johnny, I really hate FIFA's decision making when I see the World Cup going to 48 teams. There's only one reason for that, and it's commercial. Because these group stage games in the last few days have been absolutely sensational.
They really have, JD, and I've kind of spent some of the World Cup looking back into the whole FIFA giving it to Qatar, and I think the most astonishing figure that came to mind was this week. I was watching a documentary just on some of the migrant workers and the conditions that they live in and so on, not to mind the conditions that they work in, but give or take, for every Qatari person over the age of 18, this World Cup is roughly costing 1 million per person. 1 million per person that actually lives in Qatar, that's from Qatar, for a country that doesn't really have an infatuation with football and is not going to leave any legacy here, because it's a country that will have to be effectively a monarchy or dictatorship, because it's full of expats who don't really have any proper rights. And the decision, the more you look into it, it's absolutely sick. And Gavin Cumsky had an interesting article in the Irish Times today talking about Morocco, and
great piece.
Really great piece. And Gavin has ties to Morocco himself, and he's very fond of the country. And I'd love to go to North Africa. But can you imagine the idea of a World Cup in North Africa, in say Morocco, like even the likes of Algeria, Egypt, countries like that? These are football crazy places with big populations. And hopefully it happens at the behest in 2030 of that Saudi bid, which is admittedly a joint bid, I think, with is it Greece and
Egypt?
And Egypt, yeah. So it's interesting. We'll see how the money plays out. But the idea of I remember, the Euros being an 8-team tournament and so on. The idea of, I'm not mad on how much the Euros has expanded. I'm certainly not mad on the talk of it expanding more down the line, but I'm totally with you on this. The groups have been, they've been really, really tight, and there's been almost like a narrative all the way to the end. And don't tinker with it, don't make stupid decisions now and bring other countries into it. It's harsh from an Irish perspective. It's going to be exceptionally hard for us to qualify going forward. It's going to be exceptionally hard for us to qualify for anything going forward, but just leave it as it is. And I think it has, in fairness, the narratives have been immense for a tournament that is essentially septic from the outset.
We got a message in here. Santos beat a combined Bohemians Drumcondra selection 3-2 in 1962. Pelé and his Santos teammates drew a crowd of over 30,000 to Dediman Park to play an exhibition match. £2 a ticket. So there you go. Wow. Back in the 60s.
And genuinely amazing, JD, that Bohs haven't brought out a jersey to honour Pelé, but I'm sure that will happen down the line, because I didn't know much about that story. Bohs are David McWilliams even on his podcast this week extolling Bohs, how clever they are, and I'm sure they'll make a bit of magic about that as well, because Dalymount has an amazing history. But I mean, it was just a different time. If Pele's sickness during this World Cup does make you compare I suppose the simple beauty of that Brazilian team, probably a lot of these players born out of poverty and became superstars, compared to this World Cup, which is slightly different.
Yeah, there's a documentary in Pelé which he's in it. Is very good. It's definitely worth watching, folks.
Yeah, John.
Yes.
Did you see the size of his calves?
No.
Well, honestly, next time if you watch that again, I've seen that as well. Just look at the size of his calves. It's unbelievable.
And what does that do in terms of a footballer's ability? Is it just strength? Is it a balance?
Oh, strength. Absolutely. Minimum amount of backlift in terms of shooting, all those kind of things. And it's just, the biggest set of calves of a footballer I've ever seen in my life.
And is there a certain training? Is it a natural thing, or is it like weights?
No, I think it's just a natural thing.
Genetics,
obviously,
yeah.
You'd have to ask.
Big thing cyclists have, JD. If you get into it, it's one thing. But like I was just writing, JD, for a piece tomorrow about the likes of John Bond and say Facile Vega, what they're doing for racing at the moment, and keeping racing really topical among the people who actually love the sport. What did Pelé do for this sport? Like, what has he done? It's absolutely incalculable.
Well, I think, first of all, I don't think the South American team had won in Europe before 1958. So that's the first thing. 17 years of age. You're talking about television coming into the world in the 50s, and 17-year-old wins the World Cup in Sweden. And then, as I said, from black and white to colour in 1970. And the way FIFA, like before, unfortunately, when money is so prevalent in something, there's always ways and it can be manipulated. But in 1970 and then subsequent World Cups, you're beginning to see the colour of football in these different places when travel wasn't as prevalent as it is now, and there was a beauty of the colour of the jerseys, of the football, the way it was played with such freedom, and that I think is the legacy of the Brazilian team, that the freedom that they played with and the enjoyment that you would have yourself when you're taking the ball out and going outside into the garden or into the street and then trying to replicate these skills, and often failing, but trying is the most important thing. So it's a mass media, it's a culture thing, it's a world culture thing that Pelé was at the forefront of, and probably the first global superstar in anything. That
team, that 1970s team, John, was the best team I've ever seen. Yeah,
so there you go. And you're 13 at the time, Mark, or something like that?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So for me,
and John, it's gas too, because as I say, he was a bit before my time. Do you know what my actual first real memory of Pelé is? My actual first real memory of Pelé is Escape to Victory.
Right. Yeah. Which was I think Ozzy Ardiles and Bobby Moore were in it as a kind of a
loads. Thingy Osman from
Russell Osman, yeah. Russell Osman, yeah.
Kevin O'Callaghan played in it.
He was the Irish player. Yeah.
Yeah, Callie was in it.
I think as well, JD, like if you ever if you're like an AstroTurf footballer, a lot will be listening and we talk about it from time to time, and some kid rocks up to the game and he's from North Africa, or he's from even Spain or Croatia, or he's from somewhere different, and you'll immediately see he plays the game differently. And I think if you saw that Brazil team for the first time, say in the 70s, and you were brought up with the diet of, say, British or Irish style football and played the way it was, and you looked at this, it probably made you reimagine everything that was possible about football.
And then the Dutch did that. The Dutch did that 4 years later. They reimagined how the whole game was played, in that, when we have the ball, we attack. When we have it, don't have a wee defend. And there's no such thing as positions. So there've been definitely movements, and the 70 team was a movement, and the Dutch team was a movement, and the Barcelona team as a club team was a movement. And then the Italian style, and they always said that the dream died in 1982, but maybe it didn't. Maybe actually there's room in the game for defensive play and tough play and keeping the ball out of the net, So that's the beauty.
The Brazil team of this year seems to combine an awful lot of that, and I know we'll talk about them later on, but they have been incredibly impressive out of possession. Forget about the loss yesterday, and it'll be an interesting thing to see because they are a fusion of the beauty of the game and also the pragmatic side of it.
Netherlands 1, USA 0. Memphis Depay scoring early on. It's the 23rd minute now in this last 16 first game. The winners of this play either Argentina or Australia. They meet at 7 o'clock this evening. Lionel Messi, not as fast as he was, but still is the conductor of the orchestra.
Yeah, absolutely. And just if you watch, sometimes when the game's going on and around him and he's not near the ball, but just watch how he takes up different positions. It's just fabulous. He is the conductor. It's really good description. He'll never lose his range of passing, his ability to see passes that no one else sees. Obviously, the goal he scored in, I think it was the first game, wasn't it? And he's still, for me, he's still absolutely brilliant. I was watching the documentary about him last night, actually, which is incredible. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's amazing.
No, the iPlayer is now geo-blocked. I think it might be a Brexit thing.
Oh, right, okay. But it was... it showed him at like 5 and 6 playing in these games in Argentina, and it's just spellbinding. It really seriously is. It's just absolutely amazing. But I think they've got a lot to do, Argentina, to be honest with you. But I liked them the other night because I just thought they've got a little bit of nastiness about them as well now. They're a little bit hungry. Obviously the first result was poor, and they've really got on at it, and they look a different team. I love it when they play up right on the edge. I think that's the best way that Argentina can play. And then when he's obviously playing and he's getting the ball, it makes all the difference.
And I think
go on, Johnny. As well, JD, it's really a positive thing to see a team that is genuinely progressing as the tournament develops. I mean, whatever about the Saudi game against Mexico, I don't know what you thought. Like Laura, against Mexico, I thought they looked very, very one-dimensional, and they kind of needed a bit of genius from Messi. Whereas against Poland the other night, it was like as if this team had suddenly been liberated from the shackles. And despite the fact that obviously Di Maria has lost a yard and Messi might have lost 2 yards, it looked like they could score whenever they wanted, really. And I'm suddenly wondering now, are they becoming a factor in this tournament? I think
massively a factor. To be fair to Scaloni, he hasn't been afraid to make changes. He made 5 changes for the Mexico game and 4 for the game against Poland. And he brought that young lad Enzo Fernandez into the team, only 21. He brought Alvarez into the team up front, and he scored. So I think that's a really important thing in the World Cup, that managers have to be adaptable and flexible, and that might be the case. And we've seen it with Roberto Martinez, and we've seen it with other coaches, that they're too conservative and they don't change things. That's the worry with England.
Yeah, mind you, you can't have 2 centre backs in total nearly 80, can you? Which I think the Belgians had, didn't they?
Yeah. Or 3.
And Johnny, when you say they're starting to become a factor, would you not have fancied them heading into the tournament? I would have always, I would have possibly thought they would have made a final, only for the fact that it was fairly clear they'd run into Brazil in the semi-final, and I think that's where they could come undone. But I would have been surprised. I would be surprised if they didn't go as far as the semi-final at least. I mean, they're a pretty decent side with the best player in the world in it.
I mentioned them at the start, I mean, we've had this conversation where it wasn't the World Cup that really floated my boat, and I don't see Argentina play like almost at all. So I was looking at the record; they did an unbelievable unbeaten run, and then I was thinking, well, if they can fuse, a very, very solid defence. The thing about World Cup is, like, when you get to the last 16, it's basically about just not conceding as much as you can, and you will get chances, and they are solid enough defensively. And I'm thinking, Messi is actually coming into the World Cup in good form. But I watched them against, obviously the Saudis was a bit of a 1 in a million event, but I thought against Mexico they just looked slow, and Mexico parked the bus, and eventually they obviously won relatively comfortably. But for me, it was from the get-go against Poland the other night, I fancied Poland to give them a game. Like, Lewandowski looked like he was in another country to the rest of the Polish team. He was that isolated. And obviously his own lack of pace then was problematic in that he couldn't kind of run the channels, and Poland couldn't get the ball at all. They had one chance, obviously, early in the second half after Argentina had gone ahead. But other than that, I thought this was a really, really like a statement performance from Argentina. And I think... JD, you did say this before the tournament, you're like, whatever your inhibitions and whatever your concerns are about the tournament, it will suck you in. And when you hear Messi's name just being roared by like 70,000 people in the crowd at a game on the TV, you are sucked in. And you know, I was talking to my dad during the week, who's like, he's in his 80th year now, and he's watching the World Cup, and he would love Argentina to win it because he loves Messi, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
and it's
interesting that you say they were sound defensively, Johnny. I was actually surprised, John. I don't know if you saw much of it as well, but I thought Romero was very poor in the first game.
He wasn't fit, not fit.
No, and it didn't surprise me at all when Martinez came in. But then it really did surprise me when Martinez was left back out for Romero in the third group game. I assumed that was the end of Romero at the World Cup and that Martinez would stay as Otamendi's centre-back partner. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward, because he looked a lot better than Romero to me.
Well, players have been taken out of their club seasons quite quickly. They're playing matches in short space of time, and there's not much recovery time. And you could see that in, say, the tiredness possibly of the Poles in the second half against Argentina. And that's why France and Brazil have had a luxury now with their squads and their qualification, and Portugal as well, that they've been able to play weaker teams and have more of a break now going into the last 16 as the Dutch attack 1-0 against the USA. They lead Memphis Depay. Will they just park the bus, Australia, do you think, Lara, later on?
Within reason, John. Yeah, I don't think they're going to go and take Argentina on, but within reason, I think it'll just be, you know, try and get through the first half, and then have a little look at it. He's been quite brave with his substitutions. The American manager has impressed me, actually. I mean, they're fantastically athletic, and you can just see that they're sitting quite easily in the games that they played. So I thought they were very good against England, which didn't take a lot on the day.
Yeah.
But I think they will. But I tell you what, they won't lose for want of not trying. I mean, they're unbelievable, and they're fantastically fit. All of them, up and down, all the time.
This is America now. We're playing the Netherlands at the moment. Australia versus Argentina this evening. I know we.
Sorry, yeah.
We got a text in
It's
here.
hard to see, JD, like when they took on to the start that they got against France, when you're taking on that caliber of opposition, and they were just lambs to the slaughter afterwards. I think Argentina's confidence is just going to skyrocket after it, particularly. Obviously, I think the Mexico game, Messi's goal and everything, I think that really galvanised them. But I'd be amazed if Argentina caused too many problems tonight.
The guy with the suit's wearing orange sunglasses. Definitely the best fashion I've seen in the last few days. Hi JD, 53106. Never right off the Socceroos. Messi doesn't have the pace, as you mentioned, and he won't win any challenges in the air. We've got a 6'6" central defender that's on fire, says Tony in Kilkenny on 53106. So are you Shane Keegan, bought into Argentina being in the semi-final and contending to win this?
Yeah, I definitely am, John. I mean, I agree with your texter, what they're after saying there, okay? It's obvious to us all Messi doesn't have the pace anymore, okay? But what has Messi been for the last, 15 years? He's either played at 9 or he's played at 7 or 11. I just think Messi has so many years left in his legs as a 10. You know, a 10 doesn't need pace. Just play him now in that little pocket behind the centre forward, surround him with pace, and just let him pull the strings, because that's the difference between Messi and Ronaldo. They've both been in the top probably 3 finishers in the world for the last, as I say, 10, 15 years thereabouts. But the difference has been that throughout that whole period, Messi has also been in the top 3 assisters in football in the world, in my opinion. I mean, his eye for a pass is arguably even better than his ability to score a goal.
Shane, in a hypothetical Argentina-France or hypothetical Argentina-Brazil situation, though, is it possible Messi will just be fair, like he'll be basically stopped to the extent that either Brazil or France will have far too much going forward to just hurt this Argentinian team? Because if you do sit off Argentina, and Poland just were unable to do it. If you do sit off them and keep Messi relatively quiet, as I mentioned, Di Maria's his legs are gone. It's still hard enough, is it, to see them beating maybe 2 teams of the caliber of the 2 teams I mentioned?
Yeah, no, I agreed. I don't think they'll go the whole way. I think if they run into Brazil in the semi-final, I do think that could be the end of the road for them. All right, Johnny. Look, the only way it's probably not the end of the world is if Messi has one of his top games. Now, that's not beyond the realms of possibility either. Like, if Messi has a 10 out of 10 game, whatever team he is playing for probably wins that match. He is capable of, at his very, very best, beating any team in the world almost single-handedly. So that's not beyond possibility.
he can't give a 10 out of 10 anymore at his age, like in against proper opposition, in my view. He's too far off the pace to do that.
I think a lot depends on the service, boys, doesn't he? Because if he doesn't get the proper service, he can't be obviously as effective in the game.
Yeah, 100%. And look, the support cast is decent without being fantastic. I do think Julian Alvarez coming into the team has been a big help. He's been decent. In fairness, in his link-up play with Messi seems to be good. But it's nowhere near as star-studded as the Brazilian lineup. Absolutely, it's nowhere near as star-studded as the French lineup. Despite the fact that France are without Pogba and Benzema, it's still not as star-studded. I mean, I'll be honest here. I'll hold my hand up. I probably had the famous Anton Niemi one on TalkSport. I had my own private little Anton Niemi moment there earlier in the year when I seen Alexis McAllister playing for Brighton, and I was trying to figure out how is this fella not been capped for Scotland yet. He's been good. He's been very, very good. I like him. I think he's done very, very well.
53106, why are you talking so much about Brazil and Argentina? Neither won in 20 years. No mention of France or Spain, says Edward in Wicklow. Edward, the good news is we're on air till 5, and we're going to get through all of the main protagonists here on Football Saturday with Laro, with Shane Keegan and with Johnny Ward. Just before we go to the break, Ballygunner and Ballya level at 6 points apiece in the Munster Club hurling final after 15 minutes in Thurles. Connacht 7, Benetton Treviso 0 at the Sports Ground in the United Rugby Championship. Remember, it's Leinster-Ulster at the RDS at 7:35. And a shock in the Tingle Creek Chase. Edwardstone 5-1 wins from Greenatine 2-1, with Shishkin the 6-5 favourite back in third. Off the Ball Saturday News Talk, and Football Saturday is back after the break. Text us 53106.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, proud partner and supporter of the Republic of Ireland women's national football team.
This is News Talk. This weekend on News Talk, we want you to have an amazing Aldi Christmas. And what's an amazing Christmas without great quality and good value food and drinks? So this weekend on News Talk, we are giving away a €1,000 gift card to spend at any of Aldi's 155 stores nationwide. Don't break the bank this year. Have an amazing Aldi Christmas with award-winning Board Bia quality assured 100% Irish meats and treats from the specially selected range. All without compromising on taste or quality. For your chance to win, head to newstalk.com/Aldi.
Hi, I'm Ken Doherty, and when I need car insurance, I contact the specialists at insuremycars.ie. Their team always finds me the best policy at the lowest price and with all the benefits I need. If your car insurance is up for renewal, visit insuremycars.ie.
City Financial Marketing Group Limited, trading as insuremycars.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Add sparkle to your Christmas party with Aldi's Tasty Party food range and enjoy some amazing Aldi value. Tempura King Prawns 12-pack, $2.49. Mini Vegetable Spring Rolls, $1.29. Cream-filled Profiteroles, $2.39. And Nicolas de Montbar Champagne was $24.99, now only $18.99. Delicious party food at irresistible Aldi value. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Get the facts, be drink aware, visit drinkaware.ie.
Give the gift of magical memories this Christmas with a Clontarf Castle Hotel gift card. Indulge them with a gourmet Sunday lunch in Knight's Gastro Bar or fine dining for two in our award-winning Fahrenheit restaurant. A luxury stay in our 12th century castle is always a nice surprise. Or let them choose their own Clontarf Castle experience. Just 15 minutes from the heart of the city. Christmas gift cards are now available from clontarfcastle.ie. T's and C's apply.
This Christmas, fraudsters will target people shopping online. That's why Bank of Ireland are looking out for your financial well-being. Remember, stop, think, check. Stop. Don't just click any old link. Think. Bank of Ireland will never send you texts or emails asking for your full 365 PIN or one-time passcode. And check, using their exclusive text checker by sending the word check followed by the Bank of Ireland message to 50365. For more info, search Bank of Ireland Security. And together, we won't let the fraudsters win.
Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. It's the final days of the Harvey Norman Black Friday sale, and your last chance to get our best Black Friday deals, like the Samsung Black Caviar 11kg washing machine, now only $849, or the Samsung Black Caviar 9kg heat pump dryer, now only $999. Buy both together and get a bonus €270 cashback. And at Harvey Norman, get our best prices guaranteed. The Harvey Norman Black Friday sale must end Monday. Cashback terms and conditions apply. Ask in store or see online for details.
Finding the next generation of talent and sought-after skills. Established and new sectors like engineering, construction, financial services, tech, manufacturing and biopharma are already benefiting.
And many apprentice employers are eligible for a €2,000 annual grant per apprentice. The pace of change is accelerating.
Catch up at apprenticeship.ie.
An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
This Christmas, the Gate Theatre invites you to discover the hidden life and loves of the iconic Edith Piaf. Acclaimed performer Camille O'Sullivan leads a stunning cast in the Irish premiere of Piaf by Pam Gems. Experience the dirty glamour and heady excitement of Piaf's rise and heartbreaking fall in this magical musical show. Piaf at the Gate Theatre from December 2nd for a limited run. Tickets from €25 available from the Gate Theatre, supported by the Arts Council.
We all want to live in a more sustainable world. So let's start by living in more sustainable homes. SSE Airtricity makes it easy with the Generation Green Home Upgrade. Our award-winning one-stop shop initiative partners with experts in insulation, heating, solar, windows and doors to make your home more energy efficient and cost-effective. We do all the hard work for you with end-to-end project management and a streamlined SEAI grant application process. Discover your home's BER rating at sseairtricity.com/home upgrade and see how a Generation Green home upgrade can benefit you. Registered with the SEAI for home energy upgrades. Grants offered are provided by the Government of Ireland through the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland.
Auctioneers, estate agents, letting agents and property management agents operating in the Republic of Ireland must hold a Property Services Regulatory Authority PSRA licence. An auctioneer may auction land, fine arts, antiques or animals at a mart. When engaging an agent, don't assume your agent is licensed. Check the PSRA register of licensed agents at psr.ie. Unlicensed agents are breaking the law. Report unlicensed operators to info@psr.ie. Remember, no PSRA licence, no PSRA consumer protection.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, get more of the sports you love on Sports Extra with BT Sport and Premier Sports.
This is News Talk.
And you're welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday here on News Talk. John Duggan with you 3 to 5. This is Football Saturday. Remember, as always, football and Off the Ball brought to you by Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports. You can text us 53106. Tweet us at Off the Ball. Listen across the country on your radio and News Talk. Delighted to have your company. Also, you can watch us on the digital and social channels for Periscope and Twitter at Off the Ball, YouTube, Facebook and on the OTB Sports app. We're joined on the line by the former Republic of Ireland international and Liverpool legend Mark Lawrenson, Cobh Ramblers manager Shane Keegan and the broadcaster and journalist Johnny Ward. Netherlands won the USA 0 in the opening last 16 game, 40 minutes on the watch, and Memphis Depay scoring after 10 minutes. And since then, the Dutch have been not your father or your grandfather's Holland, but very much a pragmatic, defensive, smothering unit and have really got the USA out of their shape. Laura, you're watching, would you agree?
Yeah, most definitely. There's basically, obviously, Pulisic's really early chance at 1-0 to make it 1-0 after 3 minutes, and Netherlands goal, and after that the game's a little bit of a nothing at the moment.
Yeah, so the USA have got to find something from somewhere, maybe a set piece or something, because at the moment it's the Dutch and Louis van Gaal pragmatic and potentially into that quarter-final of the World Cup. England-Senegal, Laro, tomorrow at 7. Who should Gareth Southgate play?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Who should it? Well, I'd like to see him just go with Rice in terms of, defensive holding midfield player, call it what you will, and just get an extra attacking player in there, because I think Senegal, I think they'll sit in, make it really, really difficult, and play on the break. I think that's the only way they can possibly win that game. And the problem is with Gareth Southgate that in the really big games, he tends to play with 2 holding midfield players, but they basically just duplicate what the other one does. So that's what I'd like to see from their point of view. They've got look. It doesn't matter who they play in wide areas. They've got outstanding players there. Defensively, they've looked okay. Harry Maguire's having a good tournament, so they should get through. But it's England, and they can be really, really funny at times. In games you expect them to win and win easily, they actually really, really struggle. But I expect them to beat Senegal.
Is there a chance you'll go back to a 3 in the tournament, Mark, and defensively?
Don't see it, John. Really, I don't see it, because I think one of the reasons is because that Harry Maguire's played really, really well, and in fact himself and Stones have come out with the ball and look really, really good players. Which we always thought on the ball they both could always play, and it was though they weren't allowed to come out and play, and they've come out and played and gone into midfield, which has made a difference most definitely. But I mean, it drives you mad with England, isn't it? Because the newspapers, so they beat Iran, and Iran that was never their game, was it? Iran, they knew they'd struggle against England. Their game was always the second game, the one against the Welsh, and all of a sudden they win by 6, and they're brilliant. The world beaters are going to smash everybody, and then the next game, I thought USA basically held them at arm's length, and then in the third game, England obviously won. But it's just England. It's the way that they are, but honestly, over here, John, it's just mad. You're brilliant or you're absolute rubbish. There kind of be no in between. But when they're brilliant, it's even more sickening, because I think, for goodness sake.
Yeah, but it's been like that a long time, hasn't it? As Timothy Weah draws a shot out of nothing there and tests Andries Noppert, but the Dutch keeper parrying it away. Still 1-0 to Holland against the USA. Does that put pressure on the players, you think, Mark, or are they well insulated from that?
No, I think they're used to it. Well insulated, call it what you will. They're in that bubble, aren't they, as well? So I don't think it's a problem. And I think they've got some good characters in there. I mean, everyone's saying that that Henderson made all the difference the other night, because he organises all the time. You always hear his voice. He's always telling people where to go, what to do, all those kind of things, etc. But do you need him and Rice in there? I don't think so, but we'll wait and see.
Do you play Foden and Rashford, Mark?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because the other thing is you can bring the other two lads on, can't you? Yeah. So that's just not an issue. If after 60 minutes, and it's quite possible tomorrow that after 60 minutes England haven't really done much, you just stick the other boys on, and that's where they are so lucky.
Yeah. Shane Keegan, how would you set up England if you were coaching and you Gareth Southgate's waistcoat on, as it were?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, obviously, John, he has an embarrassment of riches in the final third. He really, really does. We knew that going into the tournament. I suppose the big question mark going into the tournament was, would he have a setup that would allow all those attacking players off the leash enough to actually do some damage? And to be fair, 2 out of 3 games they have done, and you've had Saka and Sterling start the first one and both have really good games, and then Rashford and Foden start the third one and have really good games. I would be like Laro. I would go with Foden and Rashford. I think when you look at the way Harry Kane plays, I think Rashford is the ideal foil for Harry Kane, because for all the goals he scores, John, obviously he does like to drop deep, and he's a tremendous passer of a ball, absolutely tremendous passer of a ball. But that only works if you've got somebody with a direct running style and pace in front of that. And look, it's not that Sterling is slow, but he's likely to run kind of into wider areas. I suppose Rashford just goes exactly where Harry Kane would be wanting him to head, and I think that makes sense. And on Foden, look, I'm just amazed it took this long to put him into the team. I think if England are going to go a long way, he could potentially
2-0 to the Netherlands. 2-0 to the Netherlands, and they lead the USA coming up to half time. So that looks like Jamie Bland who's got it.
It was an absolute replica of the first goal. Honestly, carbon copy of the first goal. It's amazing. Pass from the right on the floor, just past the penalty spot, and Blint coming onto it and just really transferring all the weight on the ball into the bottom corner.
Wow. The Dutch are 3 games away potentially from winning the World Cup.
Yeah, you wonder, JD, if we speak about Brazil potentially galvanising, I definitely think the Van Gaal situation, I mean, it's not a great Dutch team. You mentioned yourself, they don't have even that many kind of offensive names that you would say, oh yeah, wow, this is an amazing Dutch team, that Dutch team that changed football under Cruyff and all that. It's a pragmatic team, but the body language is really encouraging. It's a goal from Blind right before half time, and like USA had been well in the game, especially when they've been well in the game at 0-0 and had a great chance, but they're on the march, the Dutch now to the last 8, and who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Very poignant.
Yeah, it's pragmatic, Johnny, but they're still like, that's your right wing back crossing to your left wing back to score. Like, that's pretty attacking. So it is. So yeah, I thought they'd struggle in this match more than they have now, to be honest with you. I thought they'd find this one a really, really tough one. But yeah, they're looking good based on this. Dumfries is a super player, lads. He really is a super player. He is some man to get up and down. He must be up there with one of the top assisters in the tournament so far. He's a brilliant bit of stuff.
Half-time whistle's gone. Score. Yeah, half-time whistle's just gone. The Netherlands 2, the USA 0. And look, it could be a little bit like Bertrand Marwijk's Dutch team in 2010, quite a pragmatic team. Now, they did, to be fair, have Wesley Sneijder back then to score goals. But yeah, this could be a Netherlands team that could threaten Argentina if Argentina can manage to overcome Australia. Johnny, did we ask you about England? I can't remember if we did or not.
No, I don't know either in the sense of what team you should play. I think the 4-3-3, I much prefer that to playing wing backs. And Shane spoke about this recently about Harry Kane, like in terms of Harry Kane's passing ability is probably actually not spoken about enough. And
it's
if you
off
have
the
the
scale,
two lads,
and I've seen him twice live recently. He is incredible on the ball.
Unbelievable. Like he's probably not far off De Bruyne in some respects in terms of when he actually plays a pass, his ability to execute it. For a player who's like Harry Kane is a real example to a young footballer. If you're not the quickest in the world, which he isn't, but he somehow just seems to make things happen, and because his control is so good, his awareness of the players around him is so good. But if he does have, say, Foden and Rashford starting, and I'm delighted to see Rashford, the form that he's come into the tournament in and carrying that form into the England situation, if he does have the two of them, you're as a team, and this is like playing France. You are petrified of France in terms of their pace on the counter, but England do have a bit of that. I'm not saying that midfield. I mean, I still wonder, is Henderson? He's probably edging a bit past his best. Will that midfield be good enough to carry them all the way? I'm not sure, but England can play. They can play a fairly pragmatic kind of situation themselves and drop those three midfielders back a little bit. I think Harry Maguire's having an outstanding tournament in my view. I think his passing has been exceptional, albeit maybe not under huge pressure so far. But if they can stay in the game, and as Laura says, they have players to change it up, they might have a bit of a chance. I thought, I think they've also grown as the tournament have gone on. They've gotten over the Wales performance, and they've serious attacking quality. And with Harry Kane as a sort of a quarterback, and yeah, there'll be serious opposition for whoever they play. And as you mentioned, if the Dutch end up playing Argentina, what a game that would be.
Well, given the history between the teams, 78, 98 and 2014.
John?
Yeah?
The first Dutch goal was a 21 sequence passes.
That's right, yeah. That's right. We're watching the screen here. Lara, did you ever feel, like I was talking about Harry Maguire there, that you were liberated sometimes when you went over to play for Ireland as opposed to your club team? Or can players sometimes have a different mindset when they maybe under pressure with their club and then go and play for the national side?
No, I never felt it. I mean, the thing was, I probably played as many games in midfield for Ireland as half my caps. I would have thought. It was. I felt quite liberated at Liverpool because you're allowed to go and play and express yourself. So, but it was always, it's mad, isn't it? But it was always good to go because you met so many of the other boys that were in the team, and we just had a fantastic kind of unification between a lot of us. It was great. And if you consider quite a few of us played for both Man United and for Liverpool, but it was never that way when we all got together. And Sunday night in Gibney's in Malahide was like just brilliant. So felt like you're going on holiday, but then you played football. But obviously the football was serious. But it was like a nice break, if I can possibly say that.
Right. So Gibney's is obviously there a long time then. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. And was there be sing songs, Mark? Or?
No, not on a Sunday. But we were allowed to go. I mean, Giles was my first playing manager. Then we had Alan Kelly for a couple of games, who I knew extremely well because of Preston. Then Owen, etc., and Jack. And when Jack came, I don't know if I told you the story. We missed, the Liverpool lads missed the first game, and then the next time we were at home, I think it made me captain because I was slightly older than Frank Stapleton, he said. And we all went to Gibners. We all met at Gibners and came back. And in the morning, we were ready to go on the bus and go and train. And Jack's really, really new to it all. And he called us all in and he said, we need to have a meeting inside. So we went inside and everything. And he said to me, you, just pointed at me. And I said, yeah. He said, you're the captain, aren't you? I said, yeah. He said, where did you all go last night? And I said, Jack, we went to Gibney's in Malahide. I said, we always go. I said, the only difference was, Jack, that Giles used to let us stay out a little bit longer. I said, but we were back at 12 o'clock with you being the new manager. And he said, I'm going to find a lot of you. And I just said to him, well, I think that's a little bit unfair. He says, no, he says, but you know I'm finding you. And I just went, no, he said, because you never invited me. Brilliant.
That's a good story.
Simpler times.
Yeah, Jack Charlton, sure, look, golden days.
Yeah.
Laro, Shane Keegan and Johnny Ward are all on Football Saturday with us. So you want to get in touch, listeners out there, 53116 costs 30 cents. You can tweet us at Off the Ball. You can watch us on our YouTube stream as well, which is live at the moment if you're not listening on the radio. Across the digital and social channels and get involved in the conversation there. Who's going to win the World Cup, folks? How do you want England to do? Do you want England to do well, or do you want England to go out as soon as possible? And how do you feel the competition's going from a football perspective? A lot of injury time, a lot of drama in the group stage, a lot of disappointments. The Belgians, the Germans, Uruguay yesterday. I think a lot of people had a bit of schadenfreude about that. But who's your idea of the winner of the tournament of the World Cup this year? Just in terms of what's going on elsewhere, remember we have Ballygunner and Bally A beating the Ulster Club Senior Hurling Championship semi-final. That threw in a Semple Stadium at 3:15, and at the moment Ballygunner lead Bally A by 111 to 11 points at half-time. And in racing as well today, a lot of interesting scores coming through as well. It was Edwardstone who won the Tingle Creek Chase. Connacht lead Benetton Treviso by 14 points to 7 at the Sports Ground in the United Rugby Championship. So Edwardstone was the big winner of the big race of the day. The Grade 1 Tingle Creek Chase 5-1. Shishkin only third, which is interesting to see. And Cheltenham winners Levenvois, as she won the handicap hurdle there at price of 6-4. But Laro, Shane Keegan and Johnny Ward with us between 4 and 5. Don't go away on your radio on News Talk here.
This weekend on News Talk, we want you to have an amazing Aldi Christmas. So we're giving away a €1,000 gift card to spend at any of Aldi's 155 stores nationwide. For more, visit newstalk.com/Aldi.
Christmas has always been a magical time at Kildare Village. And this year, it's got even more. That's because Kildare Village has more of your favourite brands, more wonderful gift ideas, more ways to drop hints, more ways to wow the office party, more you shouldn't haves, and more I just love it. With free parking and late opening, there's more ways to love Christmas at Kildare Village, where wishes come true.
Island's Edge Stout is less bitter, like Ian Hughes from Antrim. Ian.
Well, my brother-in-law has this massive gaff. He's got extensions on the extensions. New car. He's got new teeth. Raking and he was. Yeah, but why be better?
Yeah, there's no need.
No, well, actually, it turns out that he was embezzling funds from the business. Looks like he's going to do time for it.
Oh, that's desperate.
Yeah, really, really dreadful.
Right. Island's Edge. It's better, less bitter.
Get the facts. Be drink aware. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Oh, a message from An Post. But what are they asking me to do? Scammers can send fake messages pretending to be An Post. So remember, An Post will never ask you to pay charges or provide payment information through a link in a text or email. Only pay customs or delivery charges directly through anpost.com or at your local post office. Shop safely and be scam aware. For more, see anpost.com/security.
Carrick-Dunn's countdown to Christmas is here. Amazing value deals each week. Carrick-Dunn, the destination store for Christmas and gifting. Shop Irish, shop local this Christmas. Stores nationwide and online at carrickdunn.com.
Hello, Dream Inspector. 50 grand. Got it. Wait, 10 winners of 50 grand each? every Tuesday and Friday. So every Euro Millions draw till Christmas is guaranteed 10 Irish winners of 50 grand each.
10 Ireland-only raffle winners of €50,000 guaranteed in every Euro Millions draw till Christmas. The National Lottery. It could be you. Play responsibly. Play for fun. All Euro Millions Ireland-only raffle draws until December 23rd.
Oh, look at that pocket mirror. Cute. No, that's a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. Wait, it was so tiny, but it just unfolded into a full-size phone. Wow. She's only gone and popped it on the side and took a selfie. Totally hands-free. Nice. Would you look at her now? She's watching a movie while getting her hair done. I'm well, Gel.
Flexible design for any situation with the Galaxy Z Flip 4. A serious flex.
At Ulster Bank, we have now begun to close current and deposit accounts. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. You must take action now. If you are still relying on your personal or business bank account and in need of support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The wind has always been a part of who we are. For generations, we've worked with it and against it. But this generation is different. We have the wind working for us. SSE Airtricity has been harnessing our greatest natural resource for the past 25 years and is Ireland's largest provider of 100% green energy to homes and businesses across the country. SSE Airtricity. This is Generation Green. Largest provider based on CRU energy data.
As we prepare for the coming winter months, those in Ukraine continue to flee their homes in search of safety. Thousands of Ukrainians fleeing conflict urgently need temporary homes. If you have an unoccupied house, apartment or holiday home, please consider offering it to those displaced by war in Ukraine. Offer a home. Offer hope. Visit gov.ie/offer a home for more information or to make an offer. This is a new initiative of the Government of Ireland in partnership with local authorities.
This weekend on News Talk, we want you to have an amazing Aldi Christmas. And what's an amazing Christmas without great quality and good value food and drinks? So this weekend on News Talk, we are giving away a €1,000 gift card to spend at any of Aldi's 155 stores nationwide. Don't break the bank this year. Have an amazing Aldi Christmas with award-winning Board Bia quality assured 100% Irish meats and treats from the specially selected range. All without compromising on taste or quality. For your chance to win, head to newstalk.com/Aldi. Listen live or listen back on the News Talk app powered by Go Loud. On 106 to 108 FM, on the News Talk app, powered by Go Loud and smart speaker. This is News Talk.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. New legislation to decriminalise abortion will be brought before the Dáil ahead of Christmas. Speaking at the party's National Conference on Women's Rights and Gender Equality this afternoon, Deputy Breed Smith said the mandatory 3-day wait period needs to be scrapped to ensure timely access to abortion. Deputy Smith says the current law is too restrictive.
So what this bill will do is it sets out to decriminalise, to remove that criminal aspect from the abortion law as it stands, and that will automatically mean extending the time to allow for abortion here at home, and particularly in the case of fatal fetal anomaly. We've seen 250 to 300 people having to travel abroad each year, and it is mainly on this issue.
Almost 90% of people in Ireland feel employers need to do more to accommodate employees with disabilities. A new survey from the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission shows people with disabilities continue to face difficulties engaging in everyday life. It found 1 in 10 people have experienced discrimination in the last year due to disability. Chief Commissioner Sinead Gibney is urging the public and private sectors to find innovative solutions to make their workplaces more inclusive.
And I suppose that's really what this day is about. International Day of Persons with Disabilities allows us to raise awareness about the barriers to participation, the barriers to equality for people with disabilities. And what we mean by that is full inclusive education, access to adequate housing, access to decent work, so that everybody, all of us, including those amongst us who have disabilities, can participate fully in society.
A man has been treated in hospital after an incident near the Dart line in Dublin this morning. The line was closed for a short time as emergency services rushed to the scene near Bray. He was taken to St Vincent's Hospital, where his condition is described as non-life threatening. Finally, 10 Irish players won sums of €50,000 each in last night's Euro Millions draw. The prizes were scooped in the Ireland-only raffle, which was the 6th draw in the National Lottery's 12 Days of Christmas promotion. The raffle event means 10 players will win €50,000 each in every Euro Millions draw every Tuesday and Friday until the 23rd of December. And that's your news for now.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Need a gift for Chris Kindle? Ryanair gift cards are the perfect gift.
Mostly dry and some bright spells today. A few isolated showers with a little more persistent rain in places. Highs of 6 to 10 degrees. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, get more of the sports you love on Sports Extra with BT Sport and Premier Sports.
This is News Talk.
And you're welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday here on News Talk. John Duggan with you through to 5 this evening. This is Football Saturday. Remember, football and Off the Ball brought to you by Sky. Get more of the sports you love on Sports Extra with BT Sport and Premier Sports. You can text us 53106, tweet us at Off the Ball. We're streaming the conversation list across the country on News Talk. Also watch us on the digital and social channels for Off the Ball on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook and on the OTB Sports app. Joined on the line by Laro, the Republic of Ireland legend and Liverpool legend, Cobh Ramblers manager Shane Keegan and the broadcaster and journalist Johnny Ward. The Netherlands have got 1 foot in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. They lead the USA 2-0 with the second half just underway in Qatar. Memphis Depay on 10 minutes and Daley Blind just before half-time with the Dutch goals. And Louis van Gaal, their pragmatic style is working. Very difficult to break down, and you'd have to think that the Netherlands will be facing either Australia or Argentina. They meet at 7 o'clock this evening. Laro, France, Poland tomorrow. Kylian Mbappe appears to be getting better and better as a defender at the top level. How do you mark pace? Is it just a case of when you're in a one-on-one situation, are there techniques, or what can you do?
The only way, I mean, he's unbelievably rapid, is you just got to sort of try and get in front of him, which obviously is the most difficult thing. And maybe if you think he is predominantly right-footed, he's maybe trying to send him on his left, and he maybe not quite as quick, if that makes any sense. But once he's got the ball and he's running at you, you're generally toast, aren't you? And we've seen that already. And the only other thing I would say, John, is if you can stop the supply into him, then obviously he can't run past you.
Did you have anybody of extreme pace that would run at you back in the day when you were a footballer?
I think Lineker was probably one of the quickest, although there was a lad that played for Burnley called Stevie Kingdom. Would you remember him?
No, don't.
No. He was lightning quick, but he couldn't play, thank God.
Right, okay.
But he was unbelievably rapid. Okay. It really seriously was, but he'd like kick it past you and go past you, and then he'd miscontrol it or anything. So that was always good.
Johnny, probably my highlight of my week, apart from the football, was Je suis un baguette. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter. Did you?
I actually didn't. I'm not on Twitter, JD, so I apologise for that. Okay. I saw some vague reference to it, but it's some of these memes. I was just saying to you so I didn't see it. Sorry about that.
Are you not a meme man, no?
To an extent, but it's like, you see these. You gotta look at this 30-second clip, and I'm like, wonder, if I get to 25 seconds and I'm disappointed. I was just texting you at the start at half time there, JD. You mentioned Shishkin's performance. I don't know if you watched the race.
No, I didn't see it. I'm trying to keep an eye on the Netherlands World Cup triumph here.
Yeah, I think it will be a triumph. But if you are minded to have a little bet about that's cleared off the line, the State's trying to get one back. If you are minded to have a little bet in Cheltenham, Blue Lord will be running in the champion chase. He's 33-1, and you can forget about Shishkin now after his last 2 performances. So 33-1 for the champion chase each way. Type of bet you like, JD, and you could be toasting some nice profits come March.
Well, obviously responsibly, Johnny.
What's the name of the horse? I missed that, Johnny.
Blue Lord. Blue Lord. Responsibly, Laura. Responsibly.
Okay, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Find a shop near you. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to win the World Cup, JD, but I hope that's a little bit of each way value.
Shane Keegan, did you see the Just Be in Baguette, Eddie O'Keefe from Limerick have about 5 million views?
I did. Is that who he is?
Yeah.
From Limerick? Why does that not surprise me? It was one of the most Irish clips you're ever going to get, really, wasn't it? I wonder, had he a French teacher in school who's very, very proud of his efforts now, JD?
Yeah, no, I just love the way, the randomness of it, the brilliance of it, the fact that he just disappeared the moment he said it, and then the kind of bemused reaction of the French gentleman who was on L'Equipe on the TV, and that's our contribution to the World Cup. But any mad moments out there, listeners out there, when you've been on your travels as a football supporter with Ireland or with your club, any kind of crazy moments like that, if you want to get in touch, 53106. The second string against Tunisia, Shane, does that make France fresher or more overconfident possibly against the Poles?
Yeah, well, look, I can see the thinking behind it, and it probably does make them fresher. But the thing for me there is how poor the second string were. You were looking at the names in that team, and you were saying that's still, Camavinga in particular. Yeah, I mean he's so exciting to watch, but they were poor. And that you would have fancied them as being one of the teams that would have had massive strength in depth. But now all of a sudden, if plan A isn't going according to plan, they're looking at their bench and going, well, nobody really caught the eye and said, it's me. You see what England subs have been doing when they're coming on, and a couple more. I actually looked at a stat the other day, JD, just over 35% of the goals in the tournament so far have either been scored or assisted by players who didn't start. So it just shows the impact substitutes are having in these games is massive and so important. And strength and depth, particularly when we're looking at, it might be something we're going to touch on, JD, but particularly when we're looking at games that are now 105 minutes long rather than 90 minutes long, which, as a League of Ireland manager, I'm dying to know when we're going to find out if this is going to apply in the League of Ireland, because it fundamentally changes how you go about training your team for the demands of the game. It's a huge amount of extra time to be added on, but yeah, I'm very, very surprised that a couple of those French players didn't really stick their hand up and say, okay, you've got Mbappe, you've got Giroud, you've got Griezmann, but if that ain't going according to plan, I'm the one, get me on the pitch. This was their opportunity to do so, and they didn't. Will that performance the other night bother those who are regular starters for them? Not at all. No, they'll probably half been hoping they might disappoint, considering they were already guaranteed to be through anyway. Yeah,
you can't really see the Poles troubling them on the basis of what we've seen, Laro, tomorrow.
No, well, I just felt sorry for Lewandowski the other night. He basically, the only time he ever had the ball was in his own half with his back to the goal. 3 people trying to take it off him. It was like, I looked at Poland and I just thought they were very, very ordinary. So now I can't see that, to be honest with you.
You've got Konate, Varane, Upamecano, William Saliba. They've a lot of talent, the French.
Yeah.
Defensively.
Yeah, most definitely. But, listen, they have bad days, don't they?
Well, Switzerland, yeah.
So there's no doubt about it. So, and that's why this World Cup's been so interesting. And I mean, I'm still watching this game, as I'm sure you are, that the USA are giving them still at 2-0 down, are giving Holland a really good game.
Yeah.
Really good game.
53106, Mark and Paul McGrath, the best defenders we ever had, says one of our texters. Southgate doesn't seem to be able to combine attack and defence in a contemporary style. And another one, tell Johnny to be careful of bigging up a quarter-final between Argentina and the Netherlands. They played out a semi-final in 2014, a turgid 0-0 draw. They played a group game in 2006. Guess what? A 0-0 draw. And this Dutch team is awful to watch, says Brendan in Dublin.
You do build up some of these games as well, and it does obviously get very cagey as it goes on, but I think we have the ingredients now. When you look at the teams that are left, it's going to be, as we said at the outset, it's a terrible World Cup in many ways, but it's on the pitch, it's going to be so engaging, and you're going to get probably cagey sort of last 8 games where it'll be decided by one moment of magic, or that the goals expectancy is going to go way down. And I just do feel that's the way Argentina are building up. I think it'll be really, really hard to call them in the Netherlands. I don't see either winning the tournament, but really, really hard to call at least.
Laro, do you think the extra time has been a good thing? In the game between Switzerland and Serbia last night, I was watching it. I think it was 8 minutes, and he went to about 11.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If that, if they're obviously, watching when the ball goes out or however they do it, absolutely, why not? Same for both teams as well, and it's about time, isn't it? Because didn't they look at it certainly in England, and it was like the ball was only in play for something like 54 minutes or whatever it was. But yeah, if it's time added on rightly, absolutely, why not? Why not?
Has VAR been a problem? Has it?
Crap.
Right.
Honestly, John, seriously, I want to swear, but it's actually a joke. The whole thing is now a joke. And the decisions they're making basically wasn't what VAR was intended for. And you give up, don't you?
Do you give up, Shane Keegan, about VAR?
Yeah, look, it depends what perspective you're looking at it from, John. You're looking at it as a fan, as we are most of the time, or if I put myself in my manager's position, I've had every manager will give you the same sob story, but I just feel I've had so many decisions go against me through the years where I'm thinking, if VAR had been in place there, at least the referee would have been seen to have been wrong, and that decision might have been overturned. That, would I want VAR in the League of Ireland First Division? I probably would, because I think it would be a badly needed help that the referees need. But as a spectator, it's killing things. It really, really is killing things. And even as a player, the players must hate it. Do I celebrate? Do I not celebrate? Do I do a half-hearted attempt at celebrating? It's horrible for them.
Just think, John, as a country, how many major tournaments we might have actually got to if they've had VAR when we were playing.
Well, there was the Belgium 1982 qualification when we were absolutely robbed. I think you played in that game, did you, Laura? I don't know if you played in that game.
Yeah.
Then there was obviously Thierry Henry. There was Bulgaria many times in the 70s. So yeah, but then we never would have had the hand of God, would we? And sometimes life needs to be grey.
Can be.
This is it, Judy. I mean, it's not it's not a bad thing that sport has imperfections and referees make bad decisions, and spare some thought for the referee here as well. He's become so much less important because it's been decided by above, and what kills me is just the lack of spontaneity in all this. When the Brazil goal that was disallowed against Switzerland for Richarlison coming from an offside position, and VAR, it was one of these moments where I'd say about 4 minutes later the goal was disallowed, and you're looking at it and you're like, actually, yeah, VAR got that right, but no Swiss player appealed, and if it were given as a goal, would that not have been better? It would have been a goal that should have been disallowed, but we've had 4 minutes of Brazil celebrations here, and now it's 0-0 again.
Imagine Marco Tardelli's whole thing being wiped out, or the Maradona second goal against England, the '86 World Cup being wiped out because of some infringement in some part of the game. Life should be grey. I think we need to embrace the grey of life, the fact that life should not be black and white. And unfortunately in life, we're all trying to make life black and white and certain, and I don't think that's good. Just in terms of villains, we talk about VAR and Edinson Cavani. People saw him throwing the whole VAR monitor to the ground after Uruguay were knocked out of the World Cup yesterday on goal difference by South Korea. Luis Suarez really embraced the role of villain this week, Lauro. It was. Do we need more villains in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with Luis Suarez, it's always simmering, isn't it? I mean, at its best, it's simmering. So he just needs a little cause and he's off. Yeah, look at Roy Keane, absolutely. I mean, something to talk about. Brilliant player, but had his demons and he let everybody know. Brilliant.
Yeah. What about you, Shane Keegan? Any more villains in the game that you like to see, or do you think it's a good thing that we have the Suarez and the whole soap opera of it? Because it seems it's not contrived with Suarez. This is real. He was really in tears. He was really feeling this.
Oh yeah, and I think Uruguay probably have enough villains to go around for the whole World Cup. Really, so they're priceless entertainment. They really, really are. Obviously, you had Darwin Núñez nearly starting a riot with his attempt to flick the ball away at the penalty. Then you have Suarez just going around being Suarez, and then Cavani has a confrontation with the VAR machine on the way off the field. They're priceless. I think that's brilliant. It adds absolutely super entertainment to it. It really, really does. In my opinion, is there any other villains there? Well, look, as Irish people, I suppose we still look at Thierry Henry embracing Lukaku as he came off in tears the other day, and I suppose we were probably all wishing that Thierry had a moment like a game like Lukaku had, so we could have had a little bit of a laugh at him somewhere along the line, you know.
Yeah,
See, I had no issue with Suarez at all, JD. I mean, Suarez handled the ball on the line, deciding that it's a penalty, right? A penalty is less likely to, a penalty is what? 77% of penalties are scored. Otherwise, it's 100%. This is going to be a goal. I'm going to get sent off. This is within the rules. It was a little bit unsportsmanlike, but what are you going to do? I mean, he did the thing to stop the ball going in the net, took the red card, and it worked. I don't. Suarez has done a lot of bad things on the pitch. To me, that wasn't one of them.
No, but it fits the narrative of him being a villain. So I'm biting one moment, I'm breaking Ghana and hearts in the next moment.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like the Thierry Henry one for me. I think that was just a horrible thing to do. In that, like, he knew he'd done wrong. He handled the ball, and then he sat down beside Richard Dunn on the pitch after the game, as if, oh my God, it's so tough on you. Suarez just did what was the pragmatic thing at the time, and if Ireland needed that to beat France in the Euro qualifiers, in March or whatever, whenever we're playing them, and somebody handled on the line the last minute, absolutely, of course you should do it.
William Gallas scored the goal, and William Gallas and Thierry Henry were both born the same day of the same year, which is a very unusual and weird and boring stat. As were Ruud van Nistelrooy and Patrick Kluivert. As the Dutch, without Van Nistelrooy and Kluivert, because they've long retired, are 2-0 up against the USA in this World Cup last 16 games, 60 minutes on the watch in Qatar. And the Dutch looking good at the moment for a quarter-final spot. Back to the drawing board for the Belgians and the Germans, Laro. So it was just a step tournament too far, wasn't it, for the Belgians, really?
Yeah, it was. It was. And I mean, there was obviously ructions in the camp, wasn't there? I think De Bruyne seemed to have started it off, having a real go. And they just played. I mean, if you watched them, they were always trying to protect the back players because they knew they were very slow, etc. And they never really got up the pitch in numbers. And I just felt like most of them were kind of playing within themselves. It was like, we're not going to qualify, so let's not bother about it, and we can go home and have a few weeks off.
Yeah, have they wasted their players over the years, Shane Keegan? I actually don't think they have, because like Roberto Martinez was not in charge in 2016. He brought them to the World Cup semi-finals the last time. They lost to the champions narrowly. Maybe since then it's not been as good as it could have been, but for one tournament I thought they were decent.
They were, and I think he had them ranked number one in the world for
just shows how ridiculous the world rankings are. 3.5 years they were ranked number one.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they had very, very good players. Look, there's very little Roberto Martinez could do about the fact that Eden Hazard as a player just fell off a cliff. If he had been able to maintain the ability and the standards and the performances he was giving during his prime years at Chelsea, and I mean, he's not a guy who should be over the hill. He's absolutely not a guy who should be over the hill.
Well, here's one for you, Shane.
Here's
one for you, Shane. Right. So at the end of last season, Conor Kearns at Cobh United started making terrible mistakes that seemed like totally out of character for him. Does the manager take any responsibility for, say, Lukaku's inability to convert one of like 3 sitters the other day?
Okay, I think, now I know on the surface of it, you're probably going to say, how can you say that? But I think we're being a little bit overly harsh on Lukaku here, right? Because one of the 3 chances, yeah, absolutely, okay? The second one, the ball is coming fizzing at him, the one that goes low and hard and hits off his knee and goes wide. I'm not too sure what he could have done really it would have been very, problematic there to try and shape his body in a way for anything else to go on. The last one, I'll tell you what, one man has got away with absolute murder here, and that's Dejan Lovren. Because there is no way Lukaku could have anticipated that Dejan Lovren was going to miss that header. Any centre-half worth their salt heads that ball away. And that's what Lukaku was expecting to happen, as any normal human being would. How? He literally ducked out of the way of the ball. And I think, he couldn't have anticipated that. Okay, you might say a good striker should always be anticipating a mistake by a defender, but I mean, that was a routine header. Lukaku thinks it's a routine header, and before he knows it, it's hit him in the chest, and the ball is trickled into the keeper's hands, and he looks like a clown. But I'd let him off the hook a little bit more than people are coming at there. But look, people have these games. You're saying Conor Kearns, I'm saying Lukaku. Sometimes things just trickle away from you. The important thing is, you'll have heard it before, Johnny, is this whole concept of the snowball effect. Trying to coach a player mentally that what happened with the last possession has no bearing on what you're going to do with the next possession. It doesn't. But yet, players allow it to. Last ball I got, I did brilliantly. Bet you I do brilliantly with the next ball I get. Last ball I got, I made Last ball I got, I made a hames of it. Next ball that comes to me, oh Lord, I'm afraid I'm going to make a hames of it again. Like, the real top players don't suffer from that. The real top players don't suffer from that. They're able to take one incident in isolation and brush it to one side, and the next ball is a fresh ball.
How long had he not played for?
Since August.
Since August. Well, yeah. I'd give him a lot of leeway, to be honest with you. Lots of leeway. I mean, he looked big as well, didn't he? And they've obviously just taken a chance and chucked him on. Yes, he should have scored one of them, most definitely. But they can't heap the blame on him because
he played.
You said the tournament too far, JD. I mean, that Belgian team should be in the last 16. Like whatever about Lukaku being rusty, with De Bruyne, with the likes of Tielemans, with the players that they have, even some more workman-like players like Witzel at this stage, they should be good enough, and they weren't.
31 minutes since August he played, and they scored one goal from 34 shots in 3 matches.
They never played like a team, John. No, they were just all playing for themselves. You could see it from day one.
That's why Brazil, I think what Chichi did last night is very important for Brazil. Everybody in the Brazilian squad has played, apart from the third choice goalkeeper. I think from a unity point of view, I think that's a really big thing for Brazil. By the way,
they'll all feel part of it now.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you sit on the subs bench and you watch brilliant first team play, once you're involved in it and you do feel part of it, it makes a massive difference.
And Gabriel Jesus.
Rooney spoke about it in one of his Times pieces recently, JD. Laurie might have seen it, where he talks about that when you go to a tournament like this, it's all about the potential assassins within your dressing room and within your group. Those guys who can just can kill you, can absolutely kill you by bringing down the whole place. And like you say, Brazil have played a blinder there in that, they should be in a position now where there's no assassins. Everybody should be reasonably happy.
Who said that, Shane?
Rooney had it in one of his Times columns.
Wayne Rooney, sorry.
Recently, JD.
Yeah, okay. Netherlands 2, USA 0. I just think, Leandro Trossard is one of the most... I just like players like that. I don't think got enough of a look in Belgium in recent years. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it just seemed to me too much of a stale team. And if issues in the camp are coming out into the public domain, then you really know there's an issue. I think, and that's that's definitely what we saw there. By the way, the Irish Rugby Sevens lost to South Africa 21-5 in their match in Dubai. They got a silver medal in that. Laura, you want to say something there?
I've forgotten what I was going to say. Carry on.
It's okay.
Once you went into the rugby, I just glazed over.
Yeah. Ballygunner 119, Ballyea 16 points after 51 minutes of the Munster Club hurling final at Semple Stadium. Ballygunner beginning to turn the screw, the All-Ireland champions. Good news for Connacht fans, 24 points to 7. They lead Benetton Treviso with the sports ground. That matches into the second half. It is Leinster against Ulster at 7:35 at the RDS. Still Netherlands 2, the USA 0. The Germans, Lara, were they unlucky?
No, they weren't. They just again, look at Muller and one or two of the others. It's just they've lost. When you always played against Germany, you knew that whatever happened, you'd really, at the very least, struggle to beat them. And they always had special players. You look at them now, John, and they just haven't got those anymore. And it's the great thing I think about football is and sport is it's cyclical, isn't it? And their time's up. Yeah. So you wouldn't have sat in that dressing room waiting to play Germany, looking at their team and being like, oh my God, we're in for a tough time today, because they're just not that kind of team anymore, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I don't think you ever played against Germany. Did you, for the Republic of Ireland, Laura?
No.
Japan, on the other hand, Shane Coleman, our breakfast presenter, was lauding their technique against the Spanish, even though they didn't have that much possession, and just feels they're a really good technical team, and they play Croatia next. Are Japan a team that have impressed you, Laura, in the tournament so far?
Yeah, no, they have. They have, because I think in tournaments before they've been somewhat naive, and the reason they were because they didn't manage to be able to get the experience. As I said to you at the start of the programme, that teams like that have really come on, and they're very, very fit. You can see that every single Japanese player, whatever the manager says to them, they take it completely in and try and obviously work out what he wants them to do, etc. No, I think they were good. I've liked Croatia. You mentioned Croatia. I've liked them. I think they've got the best three midfield players in the competition.
Yeah.
And listen, if they play well defensively, I think they could go a long way. I think they're going to be really, really difficult to play against. And by the way, they never stop. They lose a goal, they keep going. And as I say, they've just got players. The great thing for me watching them play, John, is when the three midfield players get the ball, they always look forward. They never think about going back unless they're 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go or something. It's always, let's be positive, let's look forward, let's carry on playing. And how many teams do you say that get the ball and it goes backwards? The three midfield players for Croatia, I just think, are outstanding.
On that, JD, if you're looking at Messi, and I've read the likes of, say, Gavin Cooney and other journalists who watched the performance, the other night, and basically were on Messi watch, and they wrote articles on Messi, what he did during the game, and that he's now pulling back. He's actually looking the opposite way at times, blah 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 blah, because he's trying to manage his legs. Modric is playing to me like a guy who's closer to 17 than 37 at times. He's still doing all these runs. He still has all this energy. He doesn't look like he's facially aged at all, and he's absolutely inspirational watching him. I think Croatia defensively will probably run aground at some stage, but I've been amazed at Modric, just his indefatigable kind of attitude to the game, and the fact that he's still able to do it in the middle of a season.
Yeah, it's Modric, Brozovic and Kovacic. I think if they're going to fall aground, it'll be actually in the attack. I'm not so sure if they replace Mandzukic. I know Kramaric has had a good tournament so far, but that guy Gvardiol is decent, and that tackle he put in against Lukaku the other day was a lifesaver. He's only 20 years of age.
Oh no, he looks like he's going to become a player, most definitely.
John,
you'd argue he already is, but you know what I'm trying to say. A really good player.
John, just jumping back to Japan there, you touched on them. I think they're fascinating, because I don't know if you've heard this. Some of the good lads might have heard this style of coaching, Cobh coaching. It was set up by your man Will Cobh.
The 70s, the Dutch guy.
Yeah. That's become huge out there. They've really, really embraced it. And basically the concept of Cobh coaching is it's all based on in possession of the ball. It's all based on your first touch, being able to do all the various different tricks in terms of dribbling it. That's got really, really massive out there. And I remember Wenger way back when Wenger was at, I think I read it in his autobiography, Wenger said that when he was at Grampus 8, he absolutely loved the mentality towards football out there. Like you say, Jump, they were saying how high, like they couldn't get enough of work. And the point he was trying to make was, once they start to develop a bit more technique and a bit more game know-how, he really fancied Japan to start becoming a real force in things. And I think that's what we're starting to see. We've seen the two sides of it in that group, in that when they've had the ball, their technique has been excellent. It's been flawless. Their use of the ball has been really, really top class. Yet against Germany, they had 26% possession. Against Spain, they had 18% possession, won both games. So that showed their loving of work, their willingness to work when they don't have the ball. You put those two things together, and it's a really, really nice mix to have in a team, you know.
Yeah, Damien Duff was also praising them very much to the hilt as a team that are going places in football. You see it with the Scottish League as well, don't you, with the Japanese players there. Got a text in here on 53106. Can you ask Mark about Denmark? What happened? Really fancied them to do well, says Carl.
Yeah, so did I.
Can't score goals.
No, exactly. But they never really showed, did they? No, they would be one of the big disappointments for me. And you know, even the likes of Schmeichel just didn't look like it. Just looked like it was too many games, didn't it? It was like, well, it was almost like they were saying to themselves, we're not going to do very well in this competition. And you know what? They played exactly like that, and they were disappointing, most definitely.
We're talking about Gallas and Henri sharing a birthday, and Van Nistelrooy and Cliver sharing a birthday, and Rory Kilban has been in touch. Birthdays all born on 28th of June since 1971. Kenny Cunningham, Fabian Barthez, Elon Musk and me. So
and you? Did he mean himself, or did he mean you?
No, he meant himself. I'm not that old.
Right, okay.
Sorry, Rory.
He's not shy then, no?
Johnny, do you share any birthdays with anybody famous? Obviously, you're famous yourself, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, this is it. Yeah, my birthday is 11th of the 11th, which is D-Day, and I will quote my friend Robert Pollock, who sent me a birthday card on my 40th last month with the words "Best we forget" on the outside, 11/11/2022. So there we are.
Well, happy birthday, Johnny, and I don't think you can say anything better than that.
No.
The Netherlands 2, the USA 0, 75 minutes on the watch. Japan, can they? So you fancy Croatia? How do you see this one going on Monday, Shane Keegan? Japan, Croatia.
I think it's arguably one of the toughest ones to call. I really, really do. As Laura has said, that midfield it's just metronomic. It really, really is. They're super in the way that they knock it around, and they're a centre forward away from being a proper team that have a real rattle at this. Now, I would also go back to my friend there, Lovren. I think that's a bit of an issue for them as well, possibly. But like Japan possibly have the skill set to do this. I think they'll do exactly like we've seen them do against Spain and Germany. I think they will sit off. They'll make it really, really hard for Croatia to find any space in the final third, and then they're electric breaking out. They really, really are. They've got so much.
Goal, JD! Go back! Go back!
Through the games in the last 16, and if I was to pick one where I think through, it could be them.
Well, you guys have your screen is about 3 seconds ahead of mine. So, Johnny, I've given you the floor on that goal celebration, and you did a great job on it.
I'm in Dingle, JD, and I was walking Ventry Beach earlier, and a geezer came up to me just praising off the ball Saturdays. So there you go, getting it all the time. So you'll be live with that. This is an amazing goal. It's a little kind of a back flick from the 19. It's from the second phase of a corner, and it's just kind of spun into the back of the net.
Haji Wright has scored for the USA.
Haji Wright, an absolute fluke. But game on here.
Oh, that was class.
Did that come off Van Dijk?
No, it came off at the back of the Haji Wright's foot, I thought, and kind of scooped into the top of the net. Netherlands 2, the USA 1.
They nearly scored a minute before where there was a bad back pass, and the player, unfortunately, was just like a really narrow angle. So game on here now.
So you've been down to Paddy's pub, have you yet, Johnny?
I actually haven't. No, I've never been to Paddy's pub, funny enough, but I had a walk in Ventry, and it is strange, JD. You even in places like Dingle, you get a lot of like League of Ireland fans and a lot of lads mentioning off the ball. We don't know the sway that we hold over the nation.
Well, that's it. That's why you be careful what you say, Johnny. Laura, you ever been to Dingle? At that moment, actually, Laura froze on the screen. So
sorry, I just missed that, John. Sorry, have I been to Dingle? No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've heard all about it. Oh, crikey.
It is pound for pound the coolest place in the world. But speaking of coolest places in the world, this USA team, JD, is really making a match of this. The Dutch looking all of a sudden very, very shaky.
Yeah, they were cruising, weren't they, Holland? And they're 13 minutes away now from the quarterfinals, but they're only 2-1 up against the United States. We're going to take a break. We're going to go to the break and talk about the rest of the last 16 matches. 53106 will get in touch with a question for Laura, Johnny or Shane, and just to update you on some scores. This is in the hurling. Ballygunner and Ballyea 19-16, and Connacht now 24-14 points over Benetton at the sports ground. We're back after this.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, proud partner and supporter of the Republic of Ireland women's national football team.
This is News Talk. The Pat Kenny Show.
Christmas is just around the corner, and if you're looking for some gift inspiration, make sure you tune in this Tuesday at 11 o'clock for our Big Tech Gift Guide with Jess Kelly.
From headphones and tablets to coffee machines and vacuum cleaners, we'll have ideas for everyone in your life, starting from €15 right up to the luxury items.
If you're looking for a particular recommendation, email patkenny@newstalk.com and make sure to tune in on Tuesday at 11.
The Pat Kenny Show.
With Aviva Insurance.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on News Talk.
Your next move matters, so why not move better? Start your move to permanent TSB today. Apply in-app for our award-winning current account. So don't just move bank, move better. Apply in-app today. Applications for Explore Current Account in-app in sole name for over 18 personal customers. Residents of Republic of Ireland only. Fees and charges, terms and conditions apply. Awarded Bunkers.ie Best Current Account 2022. Permanent TSB PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Hi, I'm Ken Doherty, and when I need car insurance, I contact the specialists at insuremycars.ie. Their team always finds me the best policy at the lowest price and with all the benefits I need. If your car insurance is up for renewal, visit insuremycars.ie.
City Financial Marketing Group Limited, trading as insuremycars.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Make the most wonderful time of the year even more amazing with Virgin Media. Get a free 40-inch smart TV with 500 meg ultra-fast reliable broadband and TV 360. Just €59 a month for 12 months. Switch in-store or at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. Bring on amazing.
T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie, subject to location and availability. New customers only, 12-month contract. TCL 40-inch TV free to new customers taking 500 meg plus big TV bundle. €59 a month for 12 months, €99 thereafter. Ends December 7th, 2022.
What do you give someone who has everything? Everything. Because that's what you get with an Aldi gift card. Choose from delicious Christmas food and drink, or even our legendary Aldi special buys. Amounts start from €10. It's perfect for loved ones or hard-working team members, and it shows them just how gifted you are. Buy online or in store, discounts available for bulk orders. Aldi, make Christmas amazing for everyone. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie/gift cards for details.
We're all connected to something. For Audi drivers, it's technology, even more so now. With a complimentary Audi data plug and installation when you book your next Audi service on audiservice.ie. Get up-to-date vehicle information, optimize your drive, monitor fuel usage, and collect rewards for completing everyday journeys and driving challenges. Upgrade your Audi's connectivity with a complimentary Audi data plug. Book now at audiservice.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know there's a 1 in 3 lifetime risk of developing shingles? The risk of shingles increases with age and in those with weakened immune systems. Patients describe shingles as a burning, stabbing or itching feeling, usually accompanied by a painful rash. Ask your doctor, pharmacist or practice nurse about shingles and visit understandingshingles.ie to learn more. Understanding Shingles, brought to you by GSK in association with Chronic Pain Ireland.
Malloy's, Dublin's oldest off-licence, now delivering all your corporate gifts and wines nationwide. Shop in store or online at malloys.ie. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Are your Christmas orders already flying in? On Post Commerce has some seasonal supports to help your business scale up with smart savings on Advantage Card. Get €119 off a pack of 25 express parcel labels and save on stamps to send greetings to your customers. It's one card you'll really need this Christmas. So register free today at your post office or onpost.com/AdvantageCard. On Post Commerce, a world closer. T's and C's apply. Offer ends December 31st.
Technological University of the Shannon Athlone campus is offering fully online postgraduate degrees for professionals starting in January 2023 with masters in data analytics, tourism management and digital marketing. You have the perfect opportunity to advance your career. Visit tus.ie for full details and email business@ait.ie to find out about our upcoming webinars on these courses.
Some years ago, I was the victim of a serious crime. The person serving a life sentence for that crime now has an opportunity to apply for parole. But I also have an opportunity to have my voice heard by the parole board.
Victims of a serious crime. Your voice counts in the parole process. Find out more and register at gov.ie/parole board or call 01 474 8770.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, get more of the sports you love on Sports Extra with BT Sport and Premier Sports.
This is News Talk.
And you're welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday on News Talk. John Duggan with you as always until 5. They're nearly there. The Dutch 3-1 now against the United States. Denzel Dumfries with the third goal for Holland with only 7 minutes to go. And Mark Lawrenson, he had a Pacific Ocean of space there.
Yeah, they were just a little bit naive, weren't they? USA. They've been piling men forward, and then I think the three lads who were defending in the area just stood there. I think Dumfries had there was no one within like 15 foot of him, and he took it extremely well. But that's the end for USA now, I'm afraid. Just a bit of naiveness.
19.
JD, Johnny was talking about the Dutch being pragmatic. The famous Marco van Basten seems to agree. He's doing a Dutch TV, and his halftime analysis was 2 great goals. The rest is something to cry about. Right. As a football lover, I ask myself, what am I looking at?
Yeah, but they never won a world champ. Well, I suppose he's the only man who's won anything, has he? In the European Championship 1988. But sometimes it's about winning as well, And
listen. The Dutch are famous for getting through to semi-finals of major competitions and having a massive row and all falling out with each other.
Yeah, sometimes pragmatism is underrated, I would say. By the way, Ballygunner folks have won that Munster Club hurling final. The All-Ireland champions beating Ballyea 123 to 17 points. Congratulations to the Waterford team. We have Johnny Ward and Shane Keegan also with Laro on the show today between now and 5. Just on Brazil, do they need Neymar back, Laro, to win this thing? No,
they need him maybe for the bench in the final. Listen, I think when you play with such a great player like that, and we have no idea how big he is in Brazil, and everybody loves him and all those kind of things. But lots of players, when they come into the teams, it's almost this thing, you've got to give it to Neymar. You've got to give it to Neymar. He's this, he's brilliant, he's whatever. And, sometimes when the best player's not in, other people take on responsibility. And I think, obviously, forget about the last game, but I think generally in the second game, that's what happened. And no, I don't think, I've watched him in major competitions. I can't honestly say that I've looked at him all over the course of a game and gone, wow, he was absolutely brilliant today. I do think he is a little bit of a show pony. I really do.
Johnny, you've been dazzled by Brazil so far.
I just think, they've like you're speaking about France and Tunisia game. I think the ability to kind of rest players for the last game against Cameroon and take it easy. I've been mesmerised by them, JD, and our friend Dan McDonald spoke about them, after the Switzerland game, kind of, maybe reverting a little bit to basics. But I still thought there were flashes of absolute brilliance in the game. Richarlison did not have a good game. Obviously, Neymar wasn't playing, and yet what's impressed me most, and I know you've been watching game to game and you fancied them to win it. What has impressed me most, Judy, is off the ball. They work very, very hard at getting the ball back quickly, and it's really difficult to play against them. And for me, they've been the most impressive team. They'll probably need a small bit of luck to beat maybe France or Spain if they get there, but I think they've been exceptional.
Martinelli was good last night. He was the bright spark. Guimaraes had a poor enough time of it when he came off the bench. Didn't really execute that well. I knew why they brought Marquinhos on, because Alex, just make sure I get this right, Alex Telles is out of the tournament now. As is Gabriel Jesus, so it's interesting that they're trying to get the experienced players on, just more, I think, more for combinations than anything else. They're playing South Korea. You'd have to expect that they'd win that. Shane Keegan, what about Spain? Like this tiki-taka thing again, the lack of conviction, the lack of maybe leadership, because 12 years ago you would have had the likes of Ramos and Puyol and these types of characters. Maybe they're a bit callow.
Yeah, well, look, I think the big question mark which the manager has to try and decide in his head is what is he going to do at 9? Is he going with a 9 or is he going with a false 9? Because that's going to fundamentally change how they go about it. Look, they look very, very good to me. I know, look, they had the one poor turnout, I suppose, but I think they have looked very, very good. I'll tell you what it does make me ask, lads, is... And watching this Dutch game again here today, in which I think Frankie de Jong has been decent. Like, you look at the performances Frankie de Jong has put in for Holland so far. You look at Pedri and Gavi's performances. Like, how have Barcelona capitulated so much in the Champions League with three midfielders like that? I just can't wrap my head around it, because you look at, like, on the balance of things, there's probably only Modric ahead of those three in terms of the most outstanding midfielders in the World Cup from the group stages so far. So I don't know what's been going on there. But yeah, I think they're good, John. I think I think France, am I right in saying we can get France-Spain on one side, can we?
Yeah, no, the way this is going out, folks, just to kind of maybe distill it, it's going to probably be the Dutch against Argentina in one quarter-final. The winners of that against possibly Brazil, Croatia, or Brazil, Japan in a semi. So you're maybe thinking it's Brazil versus the Dutch or the Argentinian team. And then the other side is England, France in the quarter, you'd have to think. And the other quarter, probably Spain against Switzerland or Portugal. So you're looking at potentially an England-Spain semi-final, a France-Spain semi-final, a France-Portugal semi-final.
Or Senegal.
Or Senegal, yeah.
It actually is, joking aside, Jenny, it is a pity that they're not going to have Sadio Mane or Idris again, because it would have been very interesting to see if they could have give England. Now they could still give England a right good test. But, they're two big players for them to be missing, unfortunately.
Turn off the lights if England lose that now tomorrow. Turn off the lights.
Keep the lights on.
No, forget about it. Because I think it's we've had a lot of strife in the UK. I think culturally over the last 6-7 years, Brexit and everything, and the Boris Johnson era and everything. I don't think they'd be able to cope if they lost to Senegal, to be honest, tomorrow night. And so I'd
love to see Declan Rice win a World Cup.
Not. So I think Morocco. You read about them this morning. Like it's funny. Hakimi, isn't it? The Paris Saint-Germain player, like Johnny, like it's the stardom once again in these countries. Like, because when you think about it, the Italian 90 in a capsule is 1 out of 32. You multiply that by 32. You see people in Melbourne at 3 a.m. in the morning. You see what it's done to Saudi Arabia, and like people in headdresses crying in the stands. The Japanese, the South Koreans. Like, this is, as somebody said to me, I think, was Miguel Delaney or somebody, or you said it about that, it's the people's event, that it is like, it really is something that is a reflection of the positivity of humanity and the joy that this game can bring.
Back in something like 2016, my friend Julian had arranged that we would go to a Tunisia-Algeria World Cup qualifier in, I think it was Tunis, and there was 80,000 people at the game. And we ended up basically entering this reality TV show, and we got to the last 3 or the last 6 at that stage. So we end up like going on the reality TV show. He gets a job in Paddy Power. I finished 3rd, and we never basically went to the match anyway. And it was one of my great regrets, because it was 2-2 draw. It was an unbelievable game. And I was looking back on videos of it and like, God, the atmosphere at these North African games is insane. You're not getting that in Qatar, because Qatar is essentially a fake country with people who don't have that much interest in football. When you go to some of the other, shall we say, Arab countries, they're absolutely mesmerised by football, and it's such a passion there, and you can see the Moroccan fans how they've embraced this tournament, and I'd love to see them kick on and do well. And that article I would mention again that Gavin wrote, it's really fascinating that Morocco have been turned down, what was it, JD, like 4 or 5 times to host the World Cup.
No, I wouldn't say Qatar is a fake country. It's a fake edifice for football.
It is what it is anyway. I don't know what we want to call it at this stage. Do you know, in Qatar, like about 100 years ago, there were like 25,000 people living there. I rest my case. Anyway, so Morocco it has a big population, and they're a very good side as well. Very good side, and that North African influence has been great in the tournament.
Can they cause trouble for Spain, Laura, in your view?
No.
Okay.
No, I agree with what the boys are saying. I just think the Spanish you'll see a completely different performance from them in the next game, and I see them winning quite comfortably. I know about the argument about maybe false 9 and all those kind of things, but they just need a couple of moments. Brilliant, Spain. And I mean, that midfield with grandfather Busquets up, just making sure he's in charge of operations, and look at the way they pass, how quickly they pass, how quickly they move, the whole thing. I just think they're a joy to watch.
What about the Portuguese, Laura?
No, thanks, not for me. Not with Ronaldo in it now. I just think it's no. But listen, they're very good in competitions, aren't they? And they've got some other very good players, but I just don't get the Ronaldo thing anymore, and I wouldn't have him in my team, John.
Does that matter less, Johnny, at the World Cup, do you think, with the Ronaldo thing from Portugal?
I don't know. I mean, for me, he and Fernandes, there seems to be tension between them, but I don't know. I mean, is his ego still? His ego hasn't changed. I'm with Laura. I can't see it with Portugal. I wouldn't be surprised they were knocked out actually either.
And the Swiss are the team that could do that, Shane Keegan. Very good defensively, they were the first couple of games. And last night was just crazy.
They were excellent against Brazil, JD. They
didn't have a shot on target.
Casemiro needed a small bit of luck.
Yeah.
I know that, but they managed them very well, and I wasn't surprised to beat Serbia. I would fancy them to beat Portugal.
What about you, Shane Keegan? I mean, Mbolo's there and Shaqiri and that. Yeah.
I'd have a slightly different take than the boys. I think Portugal probably do have enough about them. I get the point you're making. Is it easier to manage Ronaldo over a short space of time than a long? I mean, the chances of any manager keeping Ronaldo happy now over a season is next to near impossible, but can you keep him happy just for a month? Look, I still think he can come up with a big goal in a big game in terms of the final third of the field and creating goal-scoring chances. Bruno Fernandes has probably done that more than any other player in the tournament so far. He's been excellent. He's driving them forward. He really is driving them forward. I've been surprised that Rafael Leao hasn't had as much game time as I would have expected to date. He's a player going into it that I thought would be a breakout star here. I actually saw Reece James. Reece James did one of these bloody Q&A jokes on social media there yesterday, and he was asked for his 3 toughest opponents of all time in his career, and he had Rafael Leao in that 3. So he's one I'd love to see kind of break into the team and get regular starts. I think they will get over the Swiss. I still don't think, having said all that, I still don't think they'd have enough to beat Spain.
Who's going to win it now, Shane Keegan? Who are you picking now?
Yeah, Brazil to beat France in the final.
Johnny Ward, what do you think about this? What's it going to be?
I've come around to what's probably the wrong opinion, that it's between Brazil and France now. I've been disappointed a bit with Spain as the tournament has gone on. Brazil or France, Judy?
And Laro, how do you see it? Do you agree with the lads?
No, I hate to say it, but Brazil, England.
Right. Okay.
Oh wow.
We'll have to get you back on then, Laro.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just think this English team will get through. I really do.
Well, Lara, your screen is actually going dark for anybody watching here, and which is probably a result of you saying that on air on the radio here on News Talk today. So we'll let you go, Lara.
It's obviously very sensitive, John.
Yeah. Okay. Lara, we'll get you to turn off that Zoom. Johnny and Shane, mind yourselves.
Thanks, JD.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
That's been Football Saturday. It is the Netherlands 3, the USA 1, and 96 minutes into this one, they're going to be in the quarterfinals against Argentina or Australia, who kick off at 7 o'clock. Remember, tomorrow, folks, France, Poland, and then England, Senegal, and the Dutch players are celebrating. They're going to win this. Denzel Dumfries with the crucial third goal against the USA. Earlier on, Memphis Depay and Daley Blind had scored in the first half, and Louis van Gaal is celebrating. Fair play, Louis. They're into the last stage. That full-time whistle has gone in Qatar. Holland 3, the USA 1. Don't forget, folks, we're back tomorrow with Off the Ball, 1 to 7. Joe Malloy in the chair here on News Talk. The legend that is Brian Kerr will be live in studio to talk about the World Cup, reflect on tonight's game, preview tomorrow's matches. Fionn Davenport and Gavin Casey joining us for the Sunday paper review. Sarah O'Donovan and Aisling O'Reilly live from the Leinster Club Championship GA Finals. Ballygunner won today. We'll also hear Roddy Collins in conversation with Richie McCormick. Be sure to join us tomorrow, folks, for all that regular updates and great chat. If you missed any of the panel on Club GA with Eddie Brennan, Shane Curran and Johnny McGee, or any of OTB Football Saturday with Mark Lawrenson, Shane Keegan and Johnny Ward, you'll find a podcast of our content on the OTB Sports app, or be sure to listen back wherever you get your pods. Thanks so much for listening and spending your time with us on the radio across the country here on News Talk today, and we'll speak at 1 o'clock tomorrow on Off the Ball. Bye-bye.
This weekend on News Talk, we want you to have an amazing Aldi Christmas. So we're giving away a €1,000 gift card to spend at any of Aldi's 155 stores nationwide. For more, visit newstalk.com